Hey guys, coming to you from Coruscant, the newest, greatest, latest place, 100 years before anything could possibly happen, couldn't it? Well, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's TV review of the Disney Plus original series, The Acolyte. This will follow episodes 1 and 2, which are directed by the co-writer and co-creator of the series, Leslye Headland. So just to let you know, word of warning, this is a spoiler discussion. There will be spoilers about the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte, just to make you aware. So don't, go in knowing that there will be stuff that I talk about that you may not want to hear. So definitely watch the episodes before you do. The Acolyte is, of course, a series that is premiering on Disney Plus. It is the latest in a long line of Disney Plus Star Wars series, which have been her hit or miss, to be fairly honest. And we have Leslye Headland, who is actually the co-creator of Russian Doll, coming in to do a series that is set 100 years before the Phantom Menace. Now, with that said, when you think about that is during the High Republic era, which I don't know a lot about, to be fairly honest, because I have not read the High Republic. I just know from what I've read online and what Leslye Headland has talked about. But it's a series that has no familiar faces unless you know the High Republic series. And so this series is basically what would happen if a character started hunting down Jedi and was part of the Sith Order in a lot of respects. In a nutshell, we have a character played by Amandla Stenberg who actually plays twins. She plays Osha and May, and Osha is a mechanic scavenger. She has this really cool little robot that she has in her pocket that she uses as a multi-tool. And then you have May, who's the one you've been seeing in the trailers, who in essence is by the guise of somebody that she is underneath, is murdering Jedi. And so the first episode basically is the setup. We follow May as she approaches the Carrie-Anne character, the Indara character, and it basically follows her takedown of the first Jedi she tries to kill. And so therefore there is I think you've seen it in the trailers, or you may not have. I can't remember offhand because it's been a while since I've seen the trailers. You see in this episode, you see her basically battle Indara. And it's a really nifty fight. May only has knives, like these I don't know what they're like throwing knives. And Indara basically in this cantina, because it just literally just opens up similar to Mandalorian in a cantina, and they fight. And May's character, the Amanda Stenberg character, is able to, in essence, stop Indara, the Carrie-Anne character, from keeping her from killing her by throwing one of these one of these knives at the bartender. So therefore, when she reveals the knife, she throws it at Indara, kills Indara, and the Indara, of course, saves the barkeep. Pretty shocking, to be fairly honest, because you think Carrie-Anne is going to be in the series for a while, and she quite isn't. So there you go. Well, the question remains, is Carrie-Anne Moss's Indara character really dead? I have a theory. Maybe she might be the character that's cloaked in the helmet. I mean, I don't know. That could be somebody completely different. It could be a Revan. It could be who the heck knows at this point. But it'd be kind of cool if we find out that Indara was kind of a spy, or she was really turned to the nature of the Sith. And there's also the running interest about the Sith in general. It's following this pattern where we have Darth Plagueis. We have, of course, Palpatine. They're supposedly the Sith, but there's this other group that is kind of the Sith. It's a really weird thing. It's like an offshoot. So I don't know if they're leading into the Darth Bane thing. It doesn't play out till near the end of the episode that you realize what May is kind of concluding with and stuff like that. But it's really an interesting thing to watch and to see how her character plays out. But because she's the twin of this woman named Osha, who was once again played by double duty Amandla Stenberg, because May has disappeared, the characters in essence are completely different Jedi. But you have characters like Yord. You have characters like Saul, who's played by the Squid Game actor Jung-Jae. You have Dafne King, who of course is from Logan, who plays Jackie. And these are individuals that are of a different kind of Jedi in a lot of respects. Saul is very much a very sullen, very kind of down to earth character who actually trained Osha. Osha left the order because she didn't feel like it didn't work for her. But in the process of everything, Saul and of course Jackie and Yord have to go and arrest Osha because she's being framed for the murder of the Carrie-Anne Moss-Sandara character. And that's a really interesting thing to watch because, when it starts out like that, it's, pretty heady stuff, to be fairly honest. Leslye Headland's going for something completely different. And it's kind of a nice change of pace because we've been so enthralled with like current stuff with like the Mandalorian and Ahsoka and all the Dave Filoni stuff, which is perfectly all right. But when you get into this series, it feels very grounded. There are, uses of the volume, I'm sure, but it feels very grounded. It feels very practical. And the way the Jedi walk and the way they use their lightsabers and the way they fight, it feels very Star Wars in a very good way. Whether people like it or not, it just depends because it is a lot more toned down. There is not as much action. It's a crime mystery series, so they're trying to figure out who kills these Jedis because there's another Jedi that's actually in the High Republic series that is named Tobin, who we'll talk about in the second episode. And there's also a Wookiee named Konaka, who also is in the High Republic series. But the first episode is just really interesting because they're there to arrest her, even though she's also working for Neimoidians, which is really interesting. The creatures from the first, from Phantom Menace. It's a really interesting thing to see, but how 100 years changes so much of a thing, of a world, of a place. And it's really fascinating because, when she's arrested, she's actually in space working on the ship, the Neimoidian ship. And I found that really just kind of cool. I don't understand. I know that we're trying to be more PC and more closer to not racism in a lot of respects, but the Neimoidians sound like humans. They couldn't just tweak it enough to make them maybe speak a different language or something. I know there was a big thing, especially with like Jar Jar and the Neimoidians and Watto and stuff like that, where they felt they were a little racist. It is what it is. It was a different time, but the Neimoidians just literally sound like human beings. I mean, it's so weird. It's such a weird out of place. It's my similar complaint to the droids, the droid bots from the prequel series, where they changed how they sounded as the series went along. So they went from Roger Roger to Roger Roger, that type of thing. There was a tonal difference that I don't understand why they did. I don't know if it was a reprogramming thing. It's a really weird thing. But in the process of everything, she's taken prisoner. She's going to be transported, and there is a heist that happens, and there's a lot of cool robots. There's one robot that has like a thing in its mouth, and it's able to break them out of jail. And then there's one guy that has like a star over his face, and it's really cool. Like he's like apparently under psychosis or under whatever, because he has he's crazy, he's a madman, he's trying to kill people. And in the process of everything, they break out of jail, and it's in a starship, and they basically, if you've ever seen Spaceballs, when they're like running to escape pods and stuff like that, it's like that. They run to escape pod, they leave Amandla Stenberg's Osha character there, and then she actually does the right thing and saves the guy who's apparently a very vicious criminal. Instead, he just runs to the other escape pod, leaving her on the ship by herself, and therefore, she crash lands on this snowy planet, and at some point she's going to need to be rescued. So therefore, Saul and Jackie and Yord have to go after her to bring her back. But I love the idea of just like she just like wraps herself up, and she's having struggling to put the seatbelt on, but as she does, she like crash lands on this planet. It's pretty funny. I love her kind of back and forth with the little robot, the little tiny pocket robot that she has. Is just really cute and adorable. And it is one of those things like, how many more robots do they need to create? How many more androids do they need to create? But, kind of like the one from, Jedi Survivor or whatever, they're just cute little things that, she's able to use as like a multi-tool device to open things and stuff like that. It's a really adorable thing. But the first episode, I feel Leslye Headland, and like I said, this is just how I feel. I'm so turned off by a lot of what Star Wars has been doing recently. I feel like they put out a lot of stuff, and a lot of it is kind of, it has an interesting opening, which I'm hoping this continues with interesting, but sometimes it just like, for instance, like the Book of Boba Fett, really excited for it. What did it do? It had 3 episodes of The Mandalorian straight in the middle of it, kind of ruining the whole series. Mandalorian season 3 and 2 had like underperforming episodes. There is a point to this series and a point to any series in the Star Wars universe. And the same thing with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They need the people to justify what they're doing. And after this first episode, even though it's only like 40 minutes long, I think it does a really nice job of doing that. I think it does a nice job of giving us what we want out of Star Wars, giving us interesting characters, giving us interesting set pieces. We go to a place called, I think it's Olega or something like that, that snowy planet, which I apologize, I don't remember the names of the planets, but they're very much unique in a lot of respects, and there's stuff that, they're familiar, but they're unique in their own right. And of course, we get Coruscant and stuff like that. That's where we meet Saul, and we meet, the younglings and stuff like that. This is way before the, of course, the purge that happens. But I really appreciated what Leslye Headland did in the first episode. Once again, these characters are fun. They're entertaining. They have really good dimension. I think Amanda Stenberg's doing a really nice job as a dual performance, and she is able to play both sides of the coin. Once again, the May character who goes onto a cliffside, she's listening to that character that we saw with like the weird kind of teeth helmet, that Sith character. And I really like that it sets up a really interesting dichotomy of like villainous arcs and stuff like that. It makes May like, she's angry, and we find out why she's angry, and she's taking down a certain Jedis and stuff like that, which we find on the second episode. But it's a really, really well put together episode. It has a lot of fun with what it's doing. It feels very much it feels like Leslye Headland knows Star Wars very well, like Dave Filoni, and knows how to make it relatable, knows how to make it fun and energetic, and has the mystery and has the aura and the darkness, while adding some really fun new characters. Like I said, there are characters like Konaka and of course Master Tobin who are in the High Republic, but I don't think Saul, who's the lead Jung-Jae characters in there. I don't know anything about Osha and May. There's characters that haven't been introduced that I haven't seen the 2 episodes that outside of the Republic characters, which I'm sure pop up in the books and stuff like that. But I think for a first episode, I think it's like an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's going to confuse a lot of people because we're dealing with characters that you don't know very well, and they're characters that are in the High Republic, so you do unfortunately have to go that route once again of reading books. But I think it's a very solid first episode for somebody who's very stagnant on the Star Wars series to begin with. And of course, they have the composer, who is Michael Abels, who is a Jordan Peele's composer from his his movies. And there is something that Michael Abels is doing that really gives a hint, and he uses compositions, themes and stuff like that from the series, the prequels and the, of course, original series, but he melds it into the new themes that he's adding to this series, and it really gives a new dimension, which I really appreciate and really love. So overall, this very first episode of The Acolyte, really good, really enjoyable. If I had any qualms, you need to read stuff to know these characters. It feels like there's something missing with some of these characters, but once again, I think as it stands on its own, I think it does a pretty competent job of just being entertaining and being close to a Star Wars prequel, sequel style film or series that we haven't really gotten since, the inception of Disney taking over Star Wars. Like, you can say like Rogue One or something like that, but in general, it's just not really been there, to be fairly honest. And it's kind of a shame, but that's just my honest opinion. That's how I feel. And, Andor is another series that I feel very similar to this series and this kind of portrayal. So with that said, that is my take on the very first episode of The Acolyte, which once again, I don't know the title of it because they don't give us the titles before. I was sent screeners for this, so I do appreciate that, but they don't give us the titles. So I'll update it when the episode comes out. But for now, episode 1 is in the books, and we're going to take a break. I'm going to post another video. I changed my mind. I'm going to post another video. I'm just going to leave this as one video. So comments below. First episode, what do you think? Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? All that good stuff. Second episode, we'll talk, all that good stuff as well. But anyways, thank you so much. If you like these videos, awesome. Hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.